And the word of the day today, directed at the Utah Jazz, is egregious rather than integrity. And it's equally as asinine. It's next on Locked on Jazz.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, I'm David Locke. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The winter games are on. There's no better way to follow than to win a bet on FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Points gained on a Thursday coming up. We'll look at the hottest players, the coldest players in the NBA, and how the Jazz players are doing. We will look at Isaiah Collier's route to being an NBA regular rotation player, as well as he's playing a good team win last night over Sacramento. Start with Brian Windhorst, new word, egregious. By the way, boys and girls, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, egregious means outstandingly bad or shocking. All right, we're not going to delve into how absurd this is. I did that yesterday about Bobby Marks, but the Jazz have become the national spotlight about tanking. And here's the question that I have, and I'm only going to take a brief moment on this today, because this is actually what I want to know, and I don't have the answer, and I'm just going to leave it out there, and then we're going to actually talk about basketball. So one is why? Why? So one theory would be, are we significantly better than any other team that's ever participated in this? Okay? That doesn't seem, at least that didn't click in my mind. Two, are we just a punching bag that, like, you just get to beat up on the Utah Jazz? Three, is it something personal about the Utah Jazz? Either, I mean, we can take it anywhere, right? It could be the predominant religion of our state, and so we just get to be the punching bag concept, that somehow somebody has something out for the Utah Jazz. Or four, does somebody benefit from this? Like, if you're going to look at stories, the two things you always look at is, like, where's the money and who benefits? So let me walk through the five, I left one out, the five theories of why we're the spotlight, okay? So one, we're just so good that it's so obvious that we're doing it in a way that nobody else has ever done it before. We just walked through how yesterday. I don't think that's actually accurate. If you want to go listen to my real emotional feelings about this, yesterday's show is the show. Okay. Two, we're just like, it's a punching bag and personal. Three, clicks. ESPN gets clicks. But why does Utah get more clicks than someone else? Like, tanking certainly gets clicks right now, and they need it. The Super Bowl's over. That's part of it. Like, you're not going to talk about Detroit and Oklahoma City. It's boring. Our two teams that are leading each conference are boring right now, and so it's going to lead the national media to have to talk about something else. And then, does anyone benefit from this conversation? So that's my thoughts on that. I will just leave that there. I will let you chew on that. You can decide for yourself. Is it one that we're just so much more truly egregious than everyone else? Did anyone look at what Sacramento played last night? Did anybody see Zubac play last night for Indiana? Did anybody see, I don't know, and Michael Porter Jr. played for Brooklyn last night? But come on. So it's a problem across the league. Is it something about our state? Is it something about our organization? Is it just clicks and Utah gets more clicks than anyone else? Or is someone have something to benefit? You decide. You vote. Put it in the YouTube chat. I'm leaving it there. You decide which that would be. Did somebody benefit? And therefore, they got no one to. Okay. All right, let's go to last night. I will be totally honest. Tim Lacombe and I were on the show last night after the game. And other than maybe a game or two during Omicron, what the Sacramento Kings rolled out last night, in my memory, is the most watered down NBA 5 at one point in time than I've ever seen. So, I'm not going to go too far. However, let's just take a look at a few numbers. And this is what, if you're playing a watered-down team, what a good team would do. So the Jazz defensive rating in the 22 minutes that Jaren Jackson Jr. was on the floor last night is a 78.4. He's now done this 2 games in a row against a Miami team that wasn't watered down, had some injuries, but wasn't watered down on Monday night. The defensive rating when Jaren Jackson was on the floor was sub 100, 96.4. And if we go to the Orlando game, when Jaren Jackson was on the floor, the defensive rating was sub 100. So in 3 games now against 3 different teams, and yes, last night's was the most watered down of all of them, the Utah Jazz with Jaren Jackson on the floor, defensive rating has been sub 100. League average is 115. Sub 100 makes you the best defensive team in all of the NBA. Okay. To the Jazz credit last night, again, watered down, and DeMar DeRozan kind of just taking shots because he gets his looks and he wants to play. So I'm glad, give him credit for playing. Sacramento, we did this on postcast last night, but it's important, took, in the first quarter, 3 shots at the rim. They took 11 shots in the paint non-restricted area, which is actually not a great shot. It's a 40 in the league average. It's like a 41% shot. They went 1 for 11. That's because they're not the highest level players in the NBA, and that's because there were a bunch of 7-footers sitting around the basket making this difficult. In the second quarter, they went 3 of 6 on those shots, which then gets them a little closer to league average, and they went 2 of 2 at the rim. So in the first half last night, they took a grand total of 5 shots at the rim the entire night, and they were 4 of 17 in the floater zone. You add the third quarter in, they take 1 shot at the rim. So through 36 minutes of basketball last night, Sacramento took 6 shots at the rim. So you're playing an undermanned team who's playing a Stockton Kings lineup. I mean, literally I've never seen it before. They had 3 two-way players on the floor at the same time. I've never seen that in the first quarter of an NBA game. So what do? Well, you don't give them anything easy. And so last night, the Jazz did not give Sacramento anything easy. They did not get shots at the rim. They got 7 in the fourth quarter, but that didn't matter. Their half-court offense was almost non-existent, and they were in transition only 12% of the time. Well, this number starts to get kind of interesting because one of the things that Will Hardy said last night in the press conference, I asked him about an Ace Bailey offensive rebound before the game, and his comment was, the Ace Bailey got this offensive rebound. I was like, is this just everyone else is to be gobbled up by trying to keep the other guys off the glass? And so Ace Bailey and the other guys can fly in and get rebounds. He says, well, I hope so. But he also thinks it's going to stop everyone from being able to be in transition against us because of the fact that you have to send all 5 guys to your defensive glass to be able to hold the Jazz off in transition. Well, Miami, who runs the most transition of anyone in the NBA, 26% of their possessions, was only in transition 15% against them. Let me put that in context. That's about league average. So between 15 and 16% is the league average for amount of possessed times you're in transition in a game. So Miami, who was number 1 in the NBA at 25% of their possessions, was suddenly in transition only 15%. Orlando, who's not a huge transition team, but they need to because they're not a great half-court team, was in transition against us for a little bit more, for 21%, so a high end. So in our second matchup, now, it's also, I can't break out the first 3 quarters on that, and we didn't play our guys in the fourth quarter because that's egregious and questions the integrity of the game. He says with his tongue permanently implanted in his cheek. And so I think we're seeing, well, first of all, the defense with Jaren Jackson has been amazing. But what we're seeing is, one, you're not getting to the rim against us anymore. And that was Will Hardy's entire defensive game plan this year, was to be the team that denied the rim the most of anyone in the NBA, and then Walker got hurt. So that's 1. 2, by being such a powerful team on the offensive side with this many guys, we're forcing teams to defensive rebound, and they're not running against us, which then lets us get our set defense, which then doesn't let anyone get to the rim. If this is 3 games. Against 3, honestly, Orlando and Miami may not be very good. Orlando lost again last night to Milwaukee, and I think Miami may have dropped one last night. Miami might have played a team that wasn't. Miami played New Orleans. By the way, you want the egregious? Egregious is the New Orleans Pelicans trying to win and being unable to. That's egregious. That's because, by the way, the definition of the word egregious is outstandingly bad, shocking. So that would be egregious to me. So we'll see. Tonight's interesting because Portland plays really fast. Portland's a team that what they do is they pick you up full court and they pressure you. And we'll see if Thiago Splitter still has that going as much as he has. It's one of the research things I'll look at today. And then it slows you down while they get up and down really, really fast. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not this works tonight, whether the Jazz are able to hold them off and keep them out of transition and force them to play half-court basketball and then force them to play half-court basketball against size. All right, Isaiah Collier has been fabulous. And there was a great Will Hardy quote that I need your weaknesses to be good enough so your strengths can shine. His strengths are shining. Can he get through his weaknesses? Next on Locked On Jazz. Thursday edition of Locked On Jazz is brought to you by our good friends over at Woodward. Woodward Park City, where the stoke factor is high, the fun is off the charts. Experimental learning is the place for it. You want to get involved, and the snow is finally falling, and Woodward's done an amazing job with their snowmaking as well. Just 20 minutes from Salt Lake City, Woodward offers experiential learning in a radically fun and safe environment, from pits to parks to ramps to tramps and back again. Facilities for all abilities. The door is always open to first-timers and regulars alike. And this year, the Mountain Park Pass season pass is on sale for $4.99. So rip hop laps with the posse after school into the evening. Maximize mountain time. This winter at one of the best terrain parks in Utah all season long. Looking to go all in, the all-access memberships provide that. And you've heard all the stories about how difficult it is to do this or that. Well, there's nothing difficult to do at Woodward because you park and you walk right on. The parking lot's right there. It's available for you. It's an easy in and out. And if you're just learning, this is a great year to learn how to fly with Woodward Tribe in seasonal and multi-week programs that build skills. Looking for something for spring break? Do it over winter break. Do it at Woodward, woodwardparkcity.com. That's woodwardparkcity.com. Ride, jump, ski, play across every season with unlimited access, indoor and mountain access, plus monthly perks, buddy tickets, exclusive benefits with the all-access membership. It's all at Woodward. The easy walking access, rental shops right there, lifts that feature perfect learning terrain. It's all at Woodward. Woodward seasonal programs build confidence, develop skills, have a blast. All at Woodward. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends over at TurboTax. You don't need taxes to dominate your year. Instead, taxes don't have to dominate your life at all because TurboTax is here to make it easier for you just to hand things off and move on with your day. With tax season, with TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or the guesswork. Okay, instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They'll handle everything from W-2s to self-employment and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and a real peace of mind. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in if a TurboTax expert didn't file your taxes last year. Just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate. Get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local. That's TurboTax.com/local. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. The All Access program is here for you. It is our everydayer club, and you can get it with the supercharged with All Access. All Access means you get one-on-one texting with me on our text line. I send you notes, get your thoughts, have you intimately involved. You'll do the Q&A show for us tomorrow. Get a bunch of questions in there as well on that. Plus, we also have for you the daily newsletter that comes to your inbox. You also get access to our merch store and 15% off all the merchandise store. that nobody else gets any access to along the way at Locked On. Plus, you get Leaf to Lean's bonus content for draft programming. Get you ready for all that. It's all the all-access program. That's $15 a month. Plus, you get Locked On Jazz ad-free. You get Locked On Sports Today ad-free, and you get part of our exclusive Discord community. It's all for $15 a month, or use the promo code JJJ to get a month free. You buy a year and get 2 months free as well. Also, for just $5, you can get the Locked On Jazz ad-free, Locked On Sports Today ad-free in your feed, and the Discord channel with the Everyday Club. Welcome to Colby Jackson, who's the newest member of the Everyday Club. Go to LockedOnJazz.supercast.com. That's LockedOnJazz.supercast.com. I want you to be a part of the Everyday program so we can build it up to be the biggest thing it can be. All right, Isaiah Collier has been just great. I mean, absolutely great. With the absence of Keyonte George, and is playing at just with such strength. He says he's in the best shape of his life. He's just got a lot of confidence. He's finding himself on the floor. He's really making strides as a second-year player, which I've kind of told you I did not think would happen a great deal. And he is thriving. He got his first start again in Toronto on that road trip. And so in the last 6 games, he started 5 of the 6, and he played 31 minutes in the other one because of the fact that that's the night Keyonte got hurt. He is in those 6 games, he is averaging 18 points, 12 assists a game. He's shooting 53% from the field, 25% from 3, and 74% from the free throw line. So he's going to the line 4 or 5 times a game, which is just great. He is shooting his 2 and feels comfortable with it and making it at 53%, which is great. And he's 4 of 16 from 3. Hit a few last night. So, and, you know, the three-point shooting is still not great. In fact, if you back it up, he's 4 of his last 22. Okay. That's his weakness. So we go back to a Will Hardy quote last year where Will Hardy said, you've got to make sure that your weaknesses are good enough that your strengths can shine. So Isaiah Collier's weakness is clearly his three-point shooting and his lack of taking three-point shots. Let me put into clarity how significant this is, and then we'll decide whether his strengths can shine. So this year, guards in the NBA, there are 6 of them that are doing 3 things. So playing at least 20 minutes a night, taking fewer than 3 threes a game, like just not taking them is a big issue, and making less than 30% of them. Okay, so Collier's doing that. So the one thing I would say that jumps out to me about this, when you see these numbers, all of these players who have done this are young. There's not a lot of guys that survive in the league a long term like this. So this will be interesting to see the career trajectory of some of these players. So Amon Thompson in Houston, who's a little unique because he's 6'8" and kind of he's certainly not a point guard, is doing it right now. He's taking 1.5 threes a game, makes 20%. I'm super curious to watch what happens to him in the playoffs. He is also maybe the best on-ball defender in the NBA. If he's not the best on-ball defender in the NBA, Dyson Daniels is the best on-ball defender in the NBA. And he's in this group as well at just 13% from 3. But it's going to be interesting to see what Atlanta does with him. They just paid him a lot of money, so they're stuck with him. Dylan Harper, rookie, is in this group, worth noting, shooting 25% from 3. Then Brandon Williams in Dallas, who's been playing a lot because of their injuries to Kyrie, and I'm just not sure is an NBA player, regular rotation player. And Christian Brown in 19 games in Denver is having a bad shooting year at 25%. Okay. So those, and Isaiah Collier, those are the only players in the NBA who play over 20 minutes a night, take fewer than 3 threes, and make less than 30% of them. Amon Thompson, Dyson Daniels, probably the 1 and 2 defensive players in the NBA. And Isaiah Collier's defense has not been good this year. Christian Brown, I'm just going to put off to the side. Brandon Williams, Isaiah Collier. Okay? And Dylan Harper. And like Dylan Harper, I'd be nervous of that San Antonio. That jumps out to me. And to Dylan Harper is shooting 47%. Isaiah Collier shooting 52%. To Isaiah, 51%. To Isaiah Collier's credit, he's shooting better on 2s than any of the players I mentioned. Okay, number 2, last year, Here are the players that did it last year. Andrew Nembhard in Indiana, 65 games, started 65, only shot 29% from three. Kind of an outlier. Malcolm Brogdon and Alfred Payton, both were out of the league by the end of the year. Isaiah Collier and Cody Williams. So last year, the only player who did it was Andrew Nembhard, who this year I think is shooting 38% from three or something. The year prior, the players who did it were Russell Westbrook with the Clippers, Markelle Fultz out of the league, Killian Hayes out of the league, Ochai Agbaji, I love Ochai, but close to out of the league. And that's it. The year prior to that, Trey Jones, San Antonio, Ben Simmons, Dennis Smith Jr. out of the league, and that's it. The year prior to that, Diallo in Detroit, I think out of the league, Talen Horton-Tucker, Killian Hayes out of the league, Markelle Fultz out of the league, Goran Dragic in his final year, Chris Dunn in 14 games, so he doesn't count. That's it. So let me redo that one just so it's Diallo, Horton-Tucker, Killian Hayes. And the year prior to that, Ben Simmons, Bruce Brown, Talen Horton-Tucker, Josh Okogie, Diallo again, Elfrid Payton, Dwayne Bacon. Amen Thompson and Dyson Daniels are going to be fascinating. And so is Isaiah Collier. Because those three players' strengths are at such an incredibly high level. I think if I go do a filter on this and add a statistical category of 6 assists a game, I think everyone else goes away. Maybe Ben Simmons stays. The only players who got 6 assists a game while doing this, Ben Simmons by season. This year, Dyson Daniels, 6 assists. Isaiah, 7. Isaiah last year, 6. Trey Jones, Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons. Now, Ben Simmons was one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Dyson Daniels is one of the best defensive players in the NBA. And Amen Thompson is one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Isaiah Collier's magic is tempo and passing. My takeaway here is for Isaiah Collier's gifts, the incredible tempo and the incredible vision passing to really show itself. He's got to get the three-point shooting up to 33%, and he's got to take about 3 to 5 a game. He just has to. It's just a route that too few other players have taken. That's my take. Points gained. I'll bet his points gained isn't terrible. He's getting efficient. Points gained is next. Who are the most efficient, productive offensive players in the NBA? Who are the worst? Where are the Jazz players falling right now? It's all next on Locked On Jazz. Today's show is brought to you in part by ZocDoc. This is such a great product that answers you just hear this, you're like, oh, this is going to work. This is a great company because this answers a problem. Finding a doctor you actually like and can feel like you discover it's like finding a diamond in the rough. You want someone who's in network, nearby, and has availability, but you also want a doctor who listens and makes you feel comfortable and explains things clearly. And that kind of doctor does exist, and you find them easy with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find, book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150 providers across all 50 states, covering 200 specialties, from primary care, dentistry, to dermatology, and eye care. Definitely put off getting doctor's appointments because it's too hard to find one. So ZocDoc makes the process simple. You can search by specialty or symptoms or actually build a care team that works for you. You can see real-time availability and book instantly. No phone calls, no waiting. You can also read verified patients' reviews so you're confident choosing a doctor and whether you want to go in person or video visit. ZocDoc makes it easy either way. Stop putting off doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. wayfair.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring today's edition of Locked On Jazz. And today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Wayfair. Spice the place up a little bit. As spring comes around the corner, it's the perfect time to reset your routine, refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might want, as well as you love how it looks and feels, and that's why we turn to Wayfair. It's one-stop shopping to get your home back on track. From bedding to mattresses to storage solutions, for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start your year fresh. Wayfair is everything you need at Full Home Fresh, all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and your budget. Wayfair has everything you need from a full home refresh, all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for you, style, and budget. Picked up a new bedding and accent pillows at Wayfair? You can also find smooth shopping. Delivery is easy. It's all there for you. Honestly, it just gets you back into routine. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thanks so much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of the day. Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Jazz. Hopefully, we make you a Jazz fan. Better to be a Jazz fan each and every day on this program. All right, let's do points game. This is our own offensive metric, exclusive to Locked On Jazz. It weighs two things. The ability to get a shot off, which is really an NBA skill. And then number two, the efficiency by which you use an offensive possession. The number one player in the NBA this year is Nikola Jokic with a plus 5.1. A plus 5.1, just to put in kind of context. If we go back through the last 10 years of NBA, the best in 16-17 was 3.8. 3.8 means that in the amount of possessions that you get in a given night, you score 3.8 points more than what a collection of average players would do, average offensive efficiency players would do. So you're scoring 3.8 points more than average with the possessions used. In 16-17, Durant was the best. In 17-18, Steph Curry was the best with 4.7, and the next was Durant at 3.5, so 4.7 was amazing. In 18-19, Giannis was the best at 3.6. Steph was next at 3.5. In 19-20, James Harden was number one at 3.3, with Karl Anthony Towns actually second. In 2021, Steph Curry was 4.0 and Durant was 3.8. In 21-22, Jokic was 3.9 with Gobert at 3.5. In 22-23, Jokic was 4.3 with Durant at 4.1. Jokic's been really good for a long time, hasn't he? In 23-24, Embiid was number one at 3.5. Giannis was at 3.2. Notice these are all threes, right? That's kind of why I'm doing this. Jokic was 3.7 in 24-25, and in 25-26, Jokic is 5.1. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is 4.3. Giannis is 4.1. Okay, we didn't look at the trade deadline, but I kind of wanted to do that today. So let's look at Harden versus Garland and see what happens here. So James Harden is a 0.9 now. He is nowhere near as efficient as he was in his heyday. Darius Garland is a negative 0.4. So that's a pretty nice little bump for Cleveland to get 1.3. 1.3 aren't a lot of players that are 1.3. So that's a pretty good little jump right there in regards to the kind of the one move that frankly had something to do with winning a championship. None of the other top teams really made moves that changed their team. The top guys in the NBA are Jokic, Alexander, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis. Austin Reeves is 4 at 3.3. Scottie Pippen Jr. hasn't played that much, but he gets in there. Steph Curry at 2.3. Jalen Duren at 2.3. Mark Williams in Phoenix 2.1. Surprising, but the dunker matters, and Phoenix is way better for a reason. Jimmy Butler's at 2.1. Golden State can't score without him. Chet Holmgren 2.0. Kevin Durant 2.0. Ryan Kalkbrenner in Charlotte 2.0. DeAndre Ayton 2.0. Con Knippel for a rookie 1.9. Incredible. Same as Anthony Edwards. and Kawhi Leonard. Pretty strong argument that Knippel maybe should win Rookie of the Year. Luka Doncic, 1.8. Seth Curry, Donovan Mitchell, 1.8. Remember, Cleveland got a 1.3 bump, and Donovan Mitchell's 1.8. That gives you kind of a context of how much that matters. Victor's 1.8. John Collins, 1.7. Sam Merrill had a big night last night, 1.7. Zion, 1.7. The least efficient NBA players, Ja Morant has had this title for almost the whole season, which is probably why no one would trade for him. Keegan Murray, who has not played much, is minus 2.2. Ja Morant, minus 2.0. Cody Martin in Dallas, minus 1.9. Derek White in Boston, minus 1.9. Bradley, let's see, guys who actually play. Trey Mann in Charlotte, minus 1.7. LaMelo, minus 1.6. Vince Williams, now with the Utah Jazz, minus 1.6. Plowden, who we saw last night, minus 1.6. Cam Thomas, who just changed teams, minus 1.6. Jeremiah Fears, minus 1.6. Nikola Jovic, minus 1.6. Lonzo Ball, who can't find a team, minus 1.6. Rob Dillingham, who got traded, minus 1.5. PJ Washington, minus 1.5. Jordan Hawkins. Dyson Daniels, who we just talked about, minus 1.4. All right, let's look at the Utah Jazz for the season, and then we'll look at the Utah Jazz for the last 10, which will give us a little bit more on Isaiah Collier. Utah Jazz for the season, Walker in his 4 games was 3.8. Lauri, 1.4. Keyonte George, 1.3. That is just tremendous. I mean, that is getting Donovan's 1.8. Keyonte is just rising up there. It is awesome. That is game changer. Svi Mikhailuk is plus 0.5. John Conchar, 0.1. Bryce is even. Great for Bryce. Elijah Harkless, even. Isaiah Collier, minus 0.1. It's a big deal to not be negative. You might be able, if you can stay from being negative because you shoot the 2 that well. Remember, Isaiah, when we talk about those players, Isaiah shoots the 2 better than any of the other guys. Filipowski, minus 0.1. Kevin Love, minus 0.2. Jaren Jackson, minus 0.2. Cody, minus 0.6. Yusuf Nurkic, minus 0.7. We don't talk about this a lot. As great as Yusuf is and all of his other stuff, his really poor rim finishing makes him incredibly inefficient. And Ace Bailey is minus 1.1. Have the Jazz players changed over the last 10 games? Take a quick look at that, and we'll find the hottest and the coldest players in the NBA. That's interesting. Not all the Jazz players showed up. Ace Bailey's actually minus 1.4. Oh, because I have a filter on 6 games played, and a bunch of our players have not played 6 games. So let me see. All right, we'll go to 4. Okay. Kyle Filipowski, this is great, is 1 plus 1.9 in his last 10 games. He's really playing. He's shooting at 53% from 3. Playing great. Svi is 1.0. John Conchar, 0.2. Keyonte, 0.2. Lauri, 0.2. Cody, 0.2. Bryce is minus 0.2, so right there. Isaiah's minus 0.3. Jaren Jackson's minus 0.7. Ace Bailey, minus 1.4. And Yusuf Nurkic, minus 1.9. Hottest players in the NBA. Let me put my game filter back on to having played at least 5 games in the span. Hottest player in the NBA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 5.0. Then OG Anunoby, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, interesting, Desmond Bane, Ty Jerome, Emmanuel Quickley, Luke Kennard, Robert Williams, Sandro Mamasquitavili, Jalen Duren, Con Knippel, John Collins, Jalen Smith, interesting, Nikola Jokic, and Steph Curry at 2.1, and Zubac at 2.0. Good pickup by Indiana. The coldest player in the NBA last 10 games is Reed Sheppard in Houston, followed by PJ Washington, followed by Taylor Hendricks, Jaylen Brown in Boston, Brandon Podziemski, Ryan Nembhard, Russell Westbrook, Ben Surratt, Caleb Love, Dyson Daniels, there again, Keyshawn George, who was so hot earlier, Zachary Richauche, Derek White, DeAnthony Melton, DeAndre Hunter, Alex Sarr. Those are the coldest players in the NBA. That is Locked On Jazz. If you'd like to join the Everydayer program, please do jump aboard and join us at lockedonjazz.supercast.com. If you've got questions for tomorrow's show, it will be an Ask LOJ edition, so please jump in and we'll do that show for you tomorrow. And then I will go on break, and Leaf will take next week for you until I do a show from Memphis for you next Friday. So jump aboard. Thank you very much for taking part of Locked On Jazz today. LockedOnJazz.supercast.com. You can follow me on socials at DLock09. Please follow or subscribe on today's program. Right now, we send you over to the first ever national 24/7 NBA channel on YouTube, Locked On NBA, and on audio, Locked On NBA Game Night, every game, every night. Also, check out the Big 3 in 30, 3 biggest stories, the Locked On experts.